Hello boys and girls, and welcome to Color Carpet Time. It's that time of day when we gather around our big color carpet at school and we listen really well. We practice letters and the sounds that they make and the words that we can create with them, and a bunch of other cool stuff. We're going to get right to it again today. So what I'm going to have you guys do is listen to a couple words. You're going to pick out the middle sound in each of the words and then identify whether or not they have the same middle sound. Okay? Alright, so we're going to identify the middle sound of each of these words, two different words, and then you're going to tell me if they have the same sound or not. Okay? Alright, so the first two words that we are going to have today are tap, tap, t-a-p, and pack, p-a-k. So what's the middle sound in tap? T, a, p, a is the middle sound. What's the middle sound in pack? P, a, k. Is it the same? It is. That one is the same. How about sad? Sad. S, a, d. And bed. B, e, d. Sad. S, a, d. A is the middle sound. Bed. B, e, d. A and e. Is that the same sound? Not that time, right? Not that time. Good. One more. How about slip? Slip. There's our SL word, huh? Slip. And slick. 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 So we have the same middle sound? They do. They have the same middle sound. Very nice. Now, I'm going to try something a little different today. Now, this is a mystery word. I'm going to give you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to hold it up, and I want you to identify just the first sound from all these pictures that I'm going to show you. And you might want to write it down. Maybe you can keep it in your head. We'll see. This is mystery word. I'm going to hold it up for you. I want you to identify the first sound of each of these picture cards that I have. And the first sound of each of them, if you put them together, it's going to create its own word. So we're going to give it a shot, okay? So first up, what is the first sound you hear when you say this? How about this? Okay. And what's the first sound of this? Okay. Okay. So if you put the first sound you hear when you say each of those words, each of those pictures, when you say, identify what that picture was of, take the first sound of each one of them and it's going to create its own word. Why don't I go over it one more time, okay? You've just taken the first sound of each of these objects. Okay, when you figure that out, when you have it, you can write it down on a piece of paper and take a picture, or when we Zoom, you can tell me what it was. I want to see how many people can figure it out, right? It's all about working with our sounds and segmenting, right? Okay, speaking of words, we had some blends when we were talking about this week. We have FL, we have PL, and we have SL. Alright? Now, I'm going to come up with a couple of examples of these, and I would like you to come up with some examples of your own. You can find them all over when you're reading, when you're talking, when you're writing. And I want you to just write them down. Write them down. And it could be on the same paper as the mystery word. Right? Or you can always bring it to Zoom and let the whole class know. Right? Give the rest of the class ideas. All right, so we have words like flock, flock. Like you'd say a flock of seagulls, right? Flock. PL, we can have plug, plug, plug. You got to plug something in to the outlet, right, for it to work, like a fan when it gets hot. And how about sling, sling, sling. If you ever see somebody, if they have their arm hurt and it's kind of wrapped up and they're holding it up in front of them like that, it's generally in something called a sling. So that is sling. Now let's do a couple more, okay? Fling, fling. And we're going to have pluck, pluck. This is pluck. Right? It's like to pick, right? And fling, I didn't say, fling is like to toss, right? You fling something in the air, okay? And finally, slick, slick, slick. That's like slippery, okay? So these are some examples of FL, PL, SL words. I want you to come up with as many as you can to share with the rest of us. Take a look at what we have so far. Can you come up with any others? Did you find any in your reading? Maybe in our book, or Read on Your Own story. Did you find any there? There's plenty of places to find them, all over. Now, let's move on from our blends for just a moment. I want to go to some of our nouns that we have. When we talk about nouns, they're people, place, or things, right? It can be a person, it can be a place, it can be a thing. Well, sometimes we talk about how many of them there are. So you say there is one puppet or 2 grapes. And so we're identifying how many nouns we have with a exact number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes we talk about nouns, but we don't give an actual number. And there's some words I want to go over real quick that can help us do that, right? So first off is some, right? Some. I'm going to have some chips. How many? I'm not giving a number, right? But there's going to be some. Right? So these words will help us to describe if we don't have an exact number to give. Some. Right? Some. We also have a lot. A lot. How many chips did you eat? A lot. I didn't keep track, I didn't count, but a bunch of them, so I ate a lot. Alright? Another one we can use is, that means close to the same thing, many. Many and a lot, right? It's much more than one if you had many or a lot. Okay? So these mean if you're having a bunch, you got really hungry and you ate a bag of chips, you had many chips. All right. Now, the last one I'm going to go over today is like the opposite of that. a few, just a few. That means you have like 2 or 3, but again, not an exact number, but a few. So these are some ways that we could describe numbers without giving an actual number. Some, a lot, many, and a few. Okay? All right. Before we go get to work, we have some sight words to go over because we have a sight word challenge on Friday and Mrs. Duck is hard at work already, so we are going to be hard at work also. You ready? This time I want you to identify them. Here we go. Not, all, what, were, we, when. Very nice. All right, make sure you're practicing on your own as well with all of those. Now I've got to give you something to do. Don't you guys have something to do? So for finding FL, SL, or PL words, wherever we can find them, we're writing them down. You're going to try to figure out the mystery word. You're going to be a detective. Try to figure out that mystery word. I also have some work from our orange workbook. We're going to start off on page 2.35. Can you see that? 2.35. Now this is our blends, FL, PL, SL, blends. What you're going to do is you're going to name what's in the picture, right? You're going to name what's in the picture. Then you're going to draw a line from the blend to the ending, right? So you're going to write the name of what you see here, write it right here. Then you're going to draw a line from this blend, either the PL, the SL, or the FL, and then draw a line to the ending of that word, okay? And then you're going to turn the page over to here. This is more blends. You are going to circle the correct name. So whatever object or thing is in the picture, you're going to circle its name here, whichever one it is, right? There's 2 words here. Only one of them is correct. So circle the correct one. Okay, and that is 2.36. Okay, boys and girls, whew, that was a lot today. You're doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. Practice those sight words, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.